The prestigious Voyageurs Cup will be handed out Wednesday night. Look at that. Who's lifting it right
Come
there?
on.
2009, Jimmy Brennan, Toronto FC, taking home the Canadian Championship. In 2015, the Whitecaps won their first. And TFC and the Whitecaps last played in the 2022 final with the Whitecaps victorious. And now they're on the cusp of winning 3 in a row, and it's TFC that stand in their way. Wheeler, Wilson, Brennan with you. The TELUS Canadian Championship final goes down Wednesday night, a 10 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff, 7 p.m. Pacific from BC Place in Vancouver. It's the Whitecaps. It's Toronto FC. Obviously, we showed you the pictures, walked you down memory lane, and Jimmy Brennan was fortunate enough to win the Voyageurs Cup once over the course of his career. How important was that win? What did it mean to you and the group winning the Canadian Championship?
Yeah, it was massive for us, but I'll let you know as well, okay? Not just once, I actually won it 4 times.
4 times?
I won it with being a player. Then I was assistant GM at the time, and then I was assistant coach, and we won it twice. So.
Right.
Got that wrong, didn't you?
My bad. I blame myself.
But you know
I
what?
Underestimated you.
But it's a wonderful tournament to play in. And it's a cup. Look, no matter what you do, and you guys know firsthand, you always want to win trophies. You want silverware. And for us to lift that for the first time, it was a special moment because then it put us in Champions League at the time. Now it's called the Champions Cup, but it got us a Champions League berth, which was great. It helped the club as well because then recruiting players, trying to get them to the club and saying, yeah, we're going to Champions League next year. And there was a lot that came with it, and a lot of pride throughout the club, being the first time that we ever won that. And then it kind of was like a bit of a mantra where we were kind of going, we have to win this every time. We've got to win this continually. And we went on a little run there where we won it. What did we win? I think 3 or 4, 5, I think it was.
They became the dominant side.
Yeah, we did. We had a good little spell there. And then obviously Montreal, they started picking up a few results and holding the trophy in Vancouver. But you know, it is important for the club because in a way it shows you that you are the best team in Canada. Yeah. Right? You're playing against each other. You want to be that one that's got the bragging rights, holding the trophy. And look at Vanni Sartini. Right now, he's won it twice. He's already got the tattoos, and he wants to win it a 3rd one.
For sure.
Right? Because it is the bragging rights. You want to be the best team in Canada, and you want your name on that trophy.
He's made it a priority as well. You're right. It's your easiest path forward into the Champions Cup, which is exceptionally important. I feel like winning the Voyageurs Cup, it's kind of accepted that it's table stakes at Toronto FC, too. Like, although they haven't won in a normal year since 2018, the 2020 final was the one-off between them and Forge. Like, it's been a while since TFC have won this. So I feel like there's going to be pressure on both sides heading into this one on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's to absolve their season as well. Like, whether you look at TFC making the playoffs, if they do, if they bow out early, but getting silver, like you mentioned, Gaff, is like, that's what you want every season, right? So you're going to go, for me, you're playing a Vancouver Whitecaps side who is superior. I don't care how you spin it, whatever you look at, they're a stronger side. But everyone knows a final game, 90-plus minutes, it's different football. It's just not a normal league game. You defend differently. You look at tactics differently. You just have to get the better side of that team for that day. So this is Toronto FC's chance to really be there and to have some bragging rights.
Let's look at the matchup and the head-to-head. The two sides did play once this season. Whitecaps won handily 4-0 at BC Place. Yeah, it was at a different time this season, but things seem to be going in different directions. I mean, the Whitecaps are 10 points clear of TFC, playing in a much more difficult conference, by the way, and they've played 2 fewer games than Toronto FC as well. Both teams heavily rotated their sides and both lost away from home. The Whitecaps at the Galaxy, no shame in that, 4-2 on Saturday, and TFC lost 2-0 at Colorado. What do you make for the Whitecaps, Jimmy? Do you feel like they can go on and potentially win this game handily? Like, they're going to be a significant favorite going in.
I think they're a very, very good side. I love watching Vancouver play at the moment. Vanni Sartini's got a great philosophy, identity, style of play. His players are buying into it. And when you watch Ryan Gold and you see Armstrong now that's just come in as well, White up top, these guys know how to play together, how to score goals, and how to dictate games. And I think they're going to be too much for TFC. I know TFC's desperate to win this. They're desperate to win it, especially where they are this season. They could be out of playoffs, and if they don't win a Canadian Championship, it will be a disaster season for them. Yeah, so it will be competitive, but I think Vancouver Whitecaps have too much for for TFC.
They have a lot of threats within their side. I think with Vancouver Whitecaps as well, and if you're looking at TFC, it's just about the personnel and who's playing on the day. Like with the injuries that have been hit, you're looking at who's playing in that back line. I think White, Armstrong, Gauld, players will just, they have pace and they have the technical ability to really play them off the pitch if they want to.
Yeah, they've just got a team that everybody knows exactly what they're doing. Yeah. And that's why they're a joy to watch. You know when they're going to press. You know as soon as they get it. You can see the patterns, the movements. Yeah. They have a clear identity. And again, I think it's going to be too much for TFC. This is a team that's very, very comfortable in possession. They're enjoying their football at the moment. And I personally like the way they play, and I think they'll win this.
Yeah. I think I said this on One Soccer Today this week. I think that, you know, Galaxy, LAFC are struggling right now. It's like the Galaxy and everyone else. I think Vancouver in the mix come the MLS Cup playoffs. But for now, I think you're right. They're considerable favorites. Kubas, a little bit of a question mark, came off with a quad midweek, didn't travel on the weekend. We'll see what that means. You mentioned the injuries for Toronto FC. Yeah. I mean, this is a side that gives up goals for fun as it is. Wingo, Gomes. Long was on the bench, didn't play. You'd expect him to maybe step in on the weekend. Osorio's the big one who didn't play or travel. He came off early midweek. It's also because of the Canadian content as well. What direction does that mean if you take out Jonathan Osorio, who's largely been Mr. Canadian Championship over the course of his career? Yeah. What could that mean for TFC?
Yeah, are you playing Kosi Thompson in the middle? Like we don't.
He's been good. He's been good.
For sure. No, but it's a big game. It's a big game where you watch someone with that experience like an Osorio leading the midfield, and you know Gaff playing this game, coaching as well. Sorry, assistant GM. I didn't know this, by the way. I was just told today. But you need your big dogs.
You just told like 2 minutes ago.
Got a long resume.
I had no clue. But you need your big dogs on the pitch. So I think that's a big, tall order for John Herdman to get that right, and with the players that he has, because the injury bug has hit them at a certain time.
It's also a notable storyline, the fact that John Herdman, kind of, sort of, well, he did call out Lorenzo Insigne midweek. You know, he was MIA on the weekend. You're thinking that tight calf wouldn't be something that would hold him out of a cup final. But at this stage, who knows? It's just another storyline on top of storylines that continue to follow this player and this club right now, Jimmy.
If I was John Herdman, I'd be doing the exact same thing. I'd probably be even worse because of the fact you've brought this guy in to change games, to win you games, and he's not. He hasn't scored in 11 matches now. And now he comes off injured all the time. He can't even play 90 minutes. And for the money that you're getting, are you getting the value in the return? No, you're not. And it's going to get to a point now, you could see with John Herdman, it's the frustration is setting in. It's setting in. Not just with the coaching staff, but with the players as well that are around them. You're supposed to come here and be a winner and make this club successful. And he's not at the moment.
And when he's on the field, he's not impacting games. Yes, he scored the match winner against Forge, but he was largely MIA during it. Like, he's not working defensively. He's not creating a lot of goals. I don't know what he's adding to this team.
You know what you can forgive? It's the winning mentality. It's the effort that you put forward. Like, playing with superstar players, whatever you want to say, or attacking players, you'll go and run and tackle and do the dog work if they show that they want to win. It's not that they're going and scoring every game or that they're making sure they're getting assists. It's just knowing that they're doing their all to go forward. That's it. What's in question when I watch Lorenzo Insigne is that, are you doing that, or is it more lip service, or you're getting paid to do 60 minutes? Are you really going and wanting to win and showing that you want to do the most for your club? I don't think that's the answer.
It's a number of issues. You know, one of many issues that Toronto FC has right now. Cluster injuries at the back is a massive issue. Who's going to play number 9? It's being completely unreliable. The final product, the final decision-making in the final third, it's just nowhere near good enough. And for me, a significant problem is players playing at a position. Like, Richie Larea is a top right back in Major League Soccer. They pay him a boatload of money. It's completely different the way that he attacks down the left-hand side. The angles are different, the way he shapes those underlaps, those inside runs. It's like you're playing a guy who could be elite in one area because you don't have a solution in another area, Jimmy. Like, for a manager, it's got to give him headaches because Herdman's trying to figure out how to use his team best, but it seems like trying to solve one problem creates another.
Well, that's it. And I mean, look, you're just trying to get the best players on the pitch. And if it means shifting a couple of others out of position to play different formations or tactics, whatever you're trying to do, but just solve the gaps, that's what they're trying to do right now. But they've had way too many injuries. And then that's where you got to look at your sports science as well and your physiotherapists. How is this happening? Why are we breaking down all the time? Is this our training? Like, what is it that's making this happen? But for me right now, it's not good. It doesn't seem, especially on the outside looking in, it doesn't look good at all. Just the way that they're playing, how many injuries they're getting, and it's just one thing after another with this club.
One of the best parts about going forward for Richie Laryea is the fact that he does it with so much pace, and it's so different on that left side. It's not like 30, 40 years ago where you look at left backs and right backs and you say you go and defend. Like, they're so much a part of the way you attack, and if you have a right-footed player playing on the left side and can't do the things that they're so used to, it takes away from the game.
I think, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Guys, with this team right now, when you lose Oso and you lose Richie Laryea, they're completely different. At least when those two are playing, you can see a little bit more urgency and a little bit more heart and desire when those two play. Because I don't like a lot of the times in certain players as well, when they put that shirt on, they're not playing for the badge and not playing for the city.
Another issue, though, those two players being relied upon heavily, one's over 30 and one's just about 30. Like, these aren't like players who are skewing younger. And you just wonder where those gaps are. I kind of feel like, you know, it might be putting it bluntly, if Toronto FC lose this game, their season is a failure. Like, their season is on the line on Wednesday night, because if they go on and win a trophy, you can say MLS, they have a tough schedule coming home. But for Vancouver Whitecaps, it seems like they're going like this.
Yes, they are.
They can set a club record for point total in the season. They can make a run in MLS playoffs. So for this one, I just think it's huge for TFC and Vancouver for a very different reason. So I can't wait for it. Like, the storylines aplenty. We will break it all down. It's the TELUS Canadian Championship Final on Wednesday night right here on One Soccer.